So in the last video we did about consoleizing the Nintendo Switch, we've made loads of progress. Now that first video was just kind of a, this is the project, this is what we're doing. I just randomly 3D printed a rough kind of case to sort of showcase where the direction of the project's going. It was definitely not the final design, and a lot of features and positions and stuff was assumed in that video, but that was never going to be the case. So in this video, I'm going to show you the progress that we've made, and we've got some really exciting things to share with you today as well. So without further delay, let's dive in. So as you can see, we've made some great progress, and I say we because this isn't just a solo project for me. There's other people behind the scenes that have been amazing with helping me out with getting this project off the ground. Now, I don't know if they want to be shouted out in the video, but if they do at a later date, I will actually give them a shout out in the videos, because we are going to be doing more videos on this project because it's going to be an ongoing project. There's going to be improvements, new features, etc. Now, before we jump in the CAD software and have a look at some of the changes that I've made and the features, etc. Well, not really changes, because there was nothing to change from the original model. That was just oh look, this is the kind of thing we're doing, etc. So anyway, before we have a look at that, I want to answer a few questions that we've had. So the first question I was asked was, am I going to be making up kits and then selling them, say, on the Alien Gaming Etsy shop? Well, there's two reasons why no, this is not going to happen. The first reason is I don't have time to do all that, as well as everything else that I do with YouTube, etc. But most importantly, the second reason that I won't do that, I have 3D printers, resin printers and normal FDM printers. I refuse to pay for 3D printed parts when I have a printer myself. That there's just no way I would ever do that. Now, I'm more than happy to buy STL files from, say, 3D Cults, which I have in the past. That little computer sort of switch dock you can see over there with the switch in it playing some random YouTube video, that is actually one that I bought from there. And I've bought loads of other 3D files, and I'm very much of the I will not buy 3D printed parts when I can print them myself. That's why I got into 3D printing. That's why I pay all the money out of my own hard-earned money to buy these 3D printers. So that brings me on to the good news, the exciting news. I will be releasing the STL files, so you can print one of these cases yourself at home. Now, of course, if you don't have a 3D printer, then we could always use the sponsor of this video, PCBway. I just want to give a massive thank you to PCBway for being today's sponsor. Now, I'm sure you know who PCBway is by now. They manufacture PCBs, and they'll also print your 3D files. Every time I've used their services, the staff have been friendly, helpful and professional, and you can keep track of your order through that order tracking process, so you can see exactly what stage of the order process it's at. So I actually need to order some 3D prints for the next video. Now, as you can see, you just drag and drop the files, or just click it and it will open File Browser, and they accept STL, OBJ, STEP or .stp files. So once you've uploaded the STL file, it will give you a little preview. Then it's just a simple case of saying how many you want, what material you want them to use, and of course what colour. Once you're happy with all that, you can submit your request and a professional will look over the files, whether it's PCBs or 3D printed files, just to make sure everything's okay, and then they will send you a message if there's any issues. If not, you'll get a final price, you'll pay that price, and then of course they'll be made and shipped out. As always, there's going to be a link to PCBway in the description, and go check out their website for more information. Right, back to the video. So thanks again to PCBway for sponsoring this video, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what those prints look like. Obviously we've got the ABS in the normal FDM printed, and then we've got a translucent resin printed one. I myself have a little bit of surprise for the next video, because wouldn't one of these cases look amazing in atomic purple? One other thing I wanted to let you guys know, I'm committed to this project. I want it to evolve. I want feedback from people. I want to add new features, etc. I am working on a new feature with a friend of mine, which is probably going to come January, February, which is going to be really cool. So make sure you get subscribed so you don't miss that video or any of the other videos on this project. So as I said, I'm really committed to this project to the point where I've used my own money, it's not sponsored, and gone out and bought a new printer that a friend of mine recommended. You know who you are, so thanks again for recommending the Bamboo Lab A1 with AMS. That printer is amazing, and we'll probably look at some of the prints that come off it in the next video, because I only got the printer 2 days ago and I'm still getting used to it and I'm still setting it up. Anyway, we've waffled on enough. Let's jump on over to the PC and have a look at how this case is coming along. So here we are in Tinkercad, and it might look a bit overwhelming to some, but to others that have dabbled with sort of 3D CAD software before, it might look really basic, because as far as 3D CAD software goes, it is relatively basic, but it's perfect for learning 3D CAD software, etc. And it's where I started. So as you can see, this is my project, and some of the older cases, like these ones at the top here, this is the basic one, how we sort of started off. But let's skip all that and let's have a look over here to sort of show you how I actually managed to do this. Now this is a 3D file of the main sort of motherboard in the switch, so it was great to get my hands on this. Now unfortunately there was no 3D files for anything else, so this little disc kind of represents the fan, this is the heat sink at the top, this represents the battery, etc. So that's how I kind of sort of positioned and made everything. So let's look at the main star, the main attraction here. Now this case is version 1.7, but when I actually release it, it will be classed as version 1, because I'm going to keep the sort of versions when I'm adapting it different to the versions that actually get released. So let's take a quick look at some of the features, etc. So straight off the bat, you'll see we have these standoffs for the motherboard. We've got these 3 standoffs for the fan, and then this little standoff here is for the SD card reader. We've got a cutout at the back for the sort of heatsink air vent. And if we look at the back here, we can see we've got the USB, USB-C and HDMI output. Now the cutouts are in the base of the case, but the board actually lives on the top of the case, and we'll look at that in a moment. We've got these standoffs in the corner, that's how the case is going to be screwed together. And then if we have a look here, this is where the little LED sort of board from the dock, once you slide it in, it will actually stay in place because the friction is tight enough for it to actually stay in there. But if we have a look here, this is where you'll print your little button, and you'll also have the original power and volume up and down board. Now, Obviously we don't need the volume up and down, so that'll be blanked off, but you will use the original power button board because that's one of the things I wanted to do with this case. I could have custom made loads of stuff, but I wanted this project, especially the first case, the first design, I wanted it to use as many parts from the original Switch as possible. So this is the top case. So let's flip it around so we can have a look at the underside, because we're going to get a better view. So it's got some air vents on the top here, and this was inspired by the original NES. I just think it looks really cool and it gives it some more airflow. Now this case does not have an extra fan, it's just using the original fan from the Switch. Like I said, I wanted it to use as many original parts as possible without too many or a lot of expensive parts to go with it to make it work. So this little piece here, or this sort of section here, that is for the dock motherboard or the dock main board. It will basically slide in here, and the reason why this bit's cut out is because that is where the ribbon cable will go that goes to the USB-C port, and then there's another little cable which will come off with wires which will have that LED indicator to sort of say that it's powered on. So this just gives you an idea of what it would look like on the stand, and then of course you don't have to use the stand, you don't even have to print it off if you don't want to. If we were to have a look at what it would look like sort of sitting down, then you could just have it like this instead. So lots of progress, still a few little bits to do, but so far so good. So I'm really happy with the way things are going, and this case, it just looks so cool, especially in this PLA, but I can't wait to see what other people print it in. So let's do a quick recap. The progress has been amazing. I do have my Switch in a working case and everything seems great. I would say it's 95% of the way there. There's just a couple of things that I maybe want to tweak, and I'll just check out. Obviously once PCBway send me that resin case and the ABS printed one, I can confirm a couple of things based on my prints. I also want to print it on the Bamboo Lab because it's a lot more accurate and the prints are going to look a lot better. I also announced that I'm not going to be selling this as a kit because I feel if you're in the 3D printing community and you've got a 3D printer, you just want to print it yourself. You don't want to be paying someone else to 3D print parts for you. And of course the STL files are going to be available. Now I'm hoping, and fingers crossed, don't hold me to this, the STL files will be released this month. So before the end of November, when the third video hits, so there's going to be another video after this one, and that's when we'll take a look at those parts from PCBway, and I've got something really special to show you as well. If you're watching that video, then the STL files will be available to download, so you can start printing your own before Christmas. It's going to be this year. It's by the end of this month. So I think that's about it for this video, but as always, please subscribe. It supports the channel, me, and projects like this going forward. A massive thank you to PCBway for sponsoring this video, but an even bigger thank you to you guys for watching this video. I'm JP, you've been watching Alien Gaming, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.